Hello, I'm Megan Jones, editor at Coulson Health magazine, and I'm delighted to be here with social media consultant Mark Saxby to talk about the latest changes with Meta. So, Mark, in a nutshell, what's happened at Meta? What's just been announced?
So they used to have a team which would keep an eye on content that could be necessarily not could be incorrect or could be maybe abusive. Ultimately, it was like having a committee that made sure things were okay on Meta, so on Instagram and on Facebook. And ultimately, they've said it's too political. They can't make decisions which are seen as being non-political. So therefore, then we're getting rid of them altogether. And from now on, it'll be the users themselves which will then flag up inappropriate behaviour and alert people to false news and things that aren't true.
But it's quite a shaker. And so, what are the consequences of this? What does this mean for users of these platforms?
It's difficult to say. I mean, you could look at X, which actually has adopted this or adapted this approach a while ago, and when you're using X, you start seeing these little notifications coming up underneath content that says this is not necessarily true, or this has been something that users have flagged. And at first, I thought, great, this is brilliant because you can actually see now, kind of, it's being very open. You can then be alerted to things that aren't true, and so I thought that was really useful. But of course, what the trouble is, though, you don't really know that's only some content. Other content still appearing on X, and will be the case on Facebook and Instagram, which we will have no idea whether it's true or false, or whether it's actually accurate. But then I would say that actually that's probably always been the case, and that in some ways these groups of people who are supposed to be fact checking, and they're such a small group. Are they ever going to have really made sure that everything that goes onto social media is accurate in the first place?
They've taken all that into account, then, obviously a lot of contact centers offer social media channels. Some of them are using Facebook and WhatsApp to communicate with their customers. So how should contact center leaders be responding to this news right now? Should they be
Well, I think
responding?
Well, I think the first thing is they need to think about where their target audience is. So I know there are some organizations that have left X as an example because of the fact they don't like the fact that Elon Musk is running it, the fact that actually it's not got this, it's got a lot of abusive stuff on there, and they've left it. And I think that's a real shame. And it'll be a shame if people leave Instagram and Facebook for the same reason, because actually if your customers are using those platforms and that's where they want to contact you, we need to be in a place where they want to be, because we need to be responding on their terms, not on our terms. If we've got to force people onto email onto another platform they don't even use, then that's silly. It's like when you see people who they create an X account, or in the old days a Twitter account, just to complain because actually the company they were talking to were only active on X and they weren't really answering questions on Facebook. And that's just not really ideal. It just kind of gets people more irate. If you complain on one network and you don't get a response, or there's no company on there to respond to, you're then going to be even more irate when you go into the second one. So it's going to be harder for contact center staff. So actually, it's about being where your target audience is first.